Okay, great. And then I'm going to kick it off with my little spiel that I do every month, especially for those who maybe haven't been here before. So Maine Accelerates Growth is a statewide network of organizations and individuals that support entrepreneurs and innovators to scale in Maine and beyond. We believe that a vibrant, inclusive innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem will result in a more abundant, equitable, and sustainable economy and make Maine a great place to live, work, and play. We work together to share expertise, seek best practices, and to address systems gaps. We promote the successes of Maine startups and entrepreneur support organizations and collaborate to attract talent and inspire innovation. So generally, just how we start is just kick it off by giving a little moment for anybody who might be new to MxG or maybe hasn't been here in a while to just give a very brief introduction, just who you are, if you're affiliated with an organization, and that's sufficient. And then there'll be opportunities for longer announcements later on in the meeting. So anybody new to MxG who's willing to go ahead and just make a quick introduction? Pat, I see your hands up. Go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I'm here because at the moment, one of the things that I am doing is that Brian Whitney has asked me to lead an effort for MTI to get our tech board members, which there are over 100 of them, who are supporting the individual tech sectors. And what I'm going to be doing is to do some things to better engage that group of people in helping entrepreneurs that MTI is funding.
All right, thanks, Pat. Go ahead, Laura.
Hi, this is my first meeting. I connected with Jake last fall and he kind of looped me into this. This is the first time I've been able to join. I'm an email marketing consultant, self-employed.
Great, awesome, welcome.
Thanks.
I'll just briefly say hello. My name is Mary Beltrand. I am helping out on communications with the Maine Outdoor Economic Roadmap. And I'm here to support Jenny, who I believe is giving a presentation a little bit later.
Great, thanks, Mary, welcome. Anybody else new to the group who wanted to do a quick intro? Go ahead, Dean.
Hi, everybody. I am new to the group. I just became ED of a nonprofit in Portland, Maine called Storm Warriors International, which has existed since 2009. And we do video production for organizations and businesses in the arts, sciences, and humanities.
Great, welcome, Dean. Anyone else? I'm looking around to see if I see any hands. Okay, great. Well, then I'll kick us off. So I'm just going to give a very brief update on behalf of MTI. Actually, one half of my update is kind of what Pat already shared, which is that MTI is convening our tech boards next Wednesday. For those who might not be familiar, MTI has 7 technology sectors that we support. And within each of those sectors, we have a tech board, which are industry experts. I think we have around 125 in total who consult and provide expert guidance on that industry to MTI. So we haven't been able to have this convening since COVID, so it's really exciting for us, and hopefully we'll have some cool things coming out of it. So more updates to follow. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention on MTI's behalf is that the Sea Maine roadmap launched earlier this month at the Maine Fishermen's Forum. Some of you might have been there or heard about it. But for those who aren't aware, it's a multi-year industry-led project to develop a strategy for ensuring greater resilience within Maine's seafood sector. And it had its 5 goals. So to grow the overall value of Maine's marine economy, grow employment within the sector, increase financial investments in the sector, maintain and expand Maine's working waterfront, and enhance the ability of the sector to respond to challenges and opportunities. So I'll post a link for folks who are interested in learning more in the chat, and that'll also be in the notes document, but I just wanted to share that. And that does it for MTI. So I'm going to turn it over to Jake at DCD to share the DCD updates.
Morning, everybody. I've got several updates for you today. So DECD is partnering with the Governor's Energy Office to implement the Maine Community Energy Redevelopment Program. A little bit of a mouthful, but the basic idea is to unlock energy assets for economic and development. This could be the redevelopment of vacant industrial sites, including brownfields, commercial corridors, maybe it's a stalled project, and they are looking for nominations right now of potential project ideas. So I'll include a link in the notes and I'll put something into the chat to give more information, but just note that the survey responses are due March 29th. Domestic trade round 2 applications will be due on Thursday, April 11th. If you're fielding any inquiries for that, I'll include Ellen's contact information. They have a webinar every Tuesday at noon, and those webinars are recorded, so people can get information that way as well. Domestic Trade Program is also doing a survey of business support organizations, trying to understand the context for helping businesses using market data more effectively. Again, so Ellen will be posting a brief survey about that. If you are a support organization and you're probably already on her radar, you don't need to reach out, but if you definitely want to be included, just let her know. Moving through my list, there was just the announcement of a disaster declaration for the January storms. So this will unlock funding. I know that people are getting asked a lot about grants for that. That's not really what the SBA does. The pandemic was sort of a one-time thing. So this unlocks loans. So expect announcement of like what locations they'll be in shortly. I know for the December storm, they opened up one in Rumford. I think this declaration is for coastal counties, so I'm expecting they'll have one in York, Cumberland, maybe Knox, and Hancock was the last I heard. But again, those will be coming out soon. And last up, there's a Maine Public Film Series screening of Resilience, which is a story of economic perseverance in Maine. This was a film commissioned by DECD. That's premiering at the Somerset Abbey in Madison on Thursday, March 28th. But it'll also be on Maine Public. So quite a few from me today, but that's it.
Awesome, thanks, Jake. I saw the trailer for Resilience on Instagram and it looked good, so looking forward to checking it out. So we are switching up the format a little for this month. Normally we do 4 kind of shorter presentations of 5 minutes each. This month we're actually going to do 2 slightly longer presentations because both of the subjects merit a little more depth. So the first one is going to be from Suzanne Hamlin, who's part of the Technical Assistance Program at MTI. And she's going to talk about this new tool for folks who might be interested in applying for federal funding. So take it away, Suzanne.
Thanks, Tom. So my first question, if people could raise their hand if they have no idea what the SBIR STTR program is, that would be helpful.
At least one hand.
Okay, a couple, good. All right. I actually think that we have an SBIR award winner on the call with us today, which is always exciting. So I'm going to start with just a very brief overview of the program. It is a federal grant program that, unlike many grant programs, is actually for for-profit companies only. This is a federally mandated set-aside program that is, I think now 3.5% of the budget of about 16 of the different agencies in the federal government. It's 3.5% of their extramural, meaning what they contract out, research budget. So the top agencies, not surprisingly, are NIH and the Department of Defense, but you also have the EPA, the Department of Energy, NOAA, the USDA, National Science Foundation. So there's really a wide range of agencies. And this program is, again, a grant program. So no strings attached other than, complying with federal regulations, but it's free money. It is very early stage. In fact, sometimes it's even earlier than MTI or any of the other funding sources on this call. And it every year gives $3.7 billion to companies to do early stage research and development of breakthrough innovations that are going to lead to a commercializable product or service. And what we found when MTI was founded was that R&D is very important to the economic development in the state.
And that's why MTI was founded. But part of the mandate was for MTI to provide technical support to companies that wanted to apply to this federal program. And the reason for that was because we found that these small businesses in Maine were having a tough time negotiating it. They weren't quite as sophisticated as some in bigger states, and they just needed help navigating the federal process. So we have a team of consultants called the Technical Assistance Program that provide pro bono services at no cost to companies who are a good fit for the SBIR or STTR program, which, by the way, stands for Small Business Innovation Research and Small Business Technology Transfer. So the two programs are very closely linked, but it sort of just depends on how much you're partnering with a research institution. So a lot of complexity to this program. Companies were having trouble navigating it. MTI sets up this program with these consultants who are experts on the program, including government accounting, general support for navigating the process, commercialization expertise, market research expertise. And we've found that we've gotten more awardees in the state to bring that federal R&D money into the state. So so aside from wanting you all to know that this program exists, one of the things is that we have this team of experts. We don't expect you to be experts, but what we are hoping is that you can be a great funnel for the clients you work with who might be a good fit. And for 20 years, we've had our partners say, I can't know all the ins and outs of the SBIR program. How am I going to know if it's a good fit? And what we have finally done is come up with a tool for you to help you and your companies just do a sort of preliminary assessment to say, does it seem like I might be a good fit? If I'm not quite ready yet, what do I need to do to get ready? And at what point should I go to MTI and ask for their support with this program? So I will try to share my screen here, maybe. Nope, that's not it. Sorry. Just very quickly show you, we have a ton of information about the SBIR program. Most of it's pretty high level, so just general overview here about the program and our TAP services. And then we have this assessment tool. So we have two versions. One is a 2-page PDF, which is right here, that you can download. It gives you the general overview and some of the sort of preliminary things. You have to be a for-profit entity in the US, fewer than 500 employees, et cetera. And then there's just a handful of questions here that, so this is a nice little takeaway, this PDF on the website. And then we also have an interactive version on the website that you or your companies can go in and see if you're a fit. If you aren't a fit because you're too big, we'll tell you. If you are a fit preliminarily, we take you to the next set of questions. And we'll give you some feedback. So let's say we say no to this, then we might have some suggestions of what you need to do to get the company or the idea sort of ready. If you say yes to everything, then you can sort of go through to the process of asking for support. And in addition to the assessment tool itself, at the end, if you've answered no to any question, you can have a summary of those suggestions emailed to you. So that is my brief overview of the tool and the program. And hopefully I've covered most of the basics for those who didn't know it and a little bit of interest for those who do. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and see if anybody has questions.
Suzanne, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you find that the awardees tend to be more product or physical, hardware versus software?
No. We have, I believe we have several companies that are software related that maybe have been funded by MVF, but certainly portfolio companies for MTI include Rockstep Solutions, which is a Tibbetts Award winner. That's a national SBIR award winner. They have developed software for helping manage the R&D process for healthcare related projects. We have Shellfish Solutions that's now sort of rebranded, and I can't remember.
Blue Trace.
Thank you. Blue Trace. They have been very successful. So we do have software companies. We have companies that are actually doing, believe it or not, things like rural and community development projects. So, and then we have everyone from doing aquaculture research, technology, science-based, to people who are making products like Montalvo. So we just really have a very wide range. Oh, Unar Labs, who's doing disability or ability enablement. So there's a really nice wide range of products, services, and, science to help improve processes and things like that.
Great. Thanks for the refresh.
Yeah.
Awesome. Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, this is less of a question, Suzanne, and more of a comment. I would suggest anybody who is either a small company or is working with small companies and thinks that SBIR or STTR grants are a potential to pursue it. And the reason I say that is twofold. First of all, the folks that MTI have that are part of this program are phenomenal experts. I've talked to people outside of the Portland, Maine environment about our folks and what they do, and they are highly respected nationally. It's kind of like SCORE in Maine. We've got the jackpot here. So they can run you through the process of what you need to do. As somebody who's involved in the investing community side of things, anytime we see somebody who has even applied for SBIR or STTR loans, if they got them, all the better, because it's non-dilutive. It's not non-dilutive money, right?
Grants.
So it doesn't.
Grants,
it's a grant.
not
Excuse
loan.
me, not
Yeah.
a loan. It's a grant. Thank you. Which is the point of it's not
Yes,
dilutive.
exactly.
Right? You're getting free money. We look at that as a huge positive, not only because you haven't diluted your equity, but you also have the brains and the knowledge to be finding the resources. And so it's seen as a kind of a very sophisticated, I look at it really heavily as a sophistication of the founders of a company. Thanks.
That's really great, Brian. Thank you for saying all that. Karen West, who is our lead consultant, is a Tibbetts Award winner nationally as well for the work that she's done in the field. And, it is early stage. As I said, it's sometimes before MTI comes in. It's definitely almost always before Maine Angels comes in, or at least before Maine Angels wants to fund a particular project, because that project is so early and so risky still. The SBIR program not only is comfortable with risk, but if it's not a risky enough technological or innovation-based idea, they don't want it. If it's pretty straightforward engineering, they don't want it. So that's really great, because if some Maine Angels or Maine Venture Fund or MTI is really interested in something, you have national caliber experts reviewing these projects to provide feedback to the extent they get an award, and they can de-risk the technology with upwards of a couple $1 million before Maine Angels even looks at the deal. I mean, or MVF or MTI, that's a really wonderful thing. So you have some of that feedback from the experts. It's been vetted at least a little bit prior to coming into the deal, and you know that they've been able to de-risk the technology in a significant way.
Just a quick comment on that, Joe. I see you have your hand up, but Suzanne, you were talking to the MTI team the other week, and you made a comment which I thought was interesting, which is, a lot of companies have been trained to pitch how their product is not going to fail, how it's a surefire thing. And you were saying that for SBIR, you actually almost have to pitch how it could fail. You need to pitch that it is such a big risk, or, there is a component of it that is not surefire. And that's something that actually, in a way, strengthens your application, which I thought was really fascinating.
That's exactly right. And it not only strengthens your application, but if there's not a way that it might fail, it's a two-stage, well, they think of it as a three-stage program. Phase one is proving this crazy idea will even work. Phase two is sort of developing the idea. And phase three is when you get it to the point where the commercial markets will take over and fund it for you, and that's commercialization. So the phase one, if you can't articulate where this thing might fail, and what all you're doing in phase one is designing an experiment to prove that it will work. So it's really a very different mindset. But the great thing is it's so applicable for so many of our companies, and they can actually be honest about what's really going on and how hard the problem they're trying to tackle really is. So sometimes that's refreshing, but it's hard for them. And I will, for those of you who use or are familiar with the viral scale, the investment readiness levels that some of us are using to evaluate where companies are in their development stage. Think of Maine Angels wanting to come in at like a 3 maybe, but probably a level of 4 where they've really sort of proven some things and tested the market. Most of these companies are a stage 0 or 1, or at least their project is a viral stage 0 or 1. So this is really, really early stage.
Great. Joe, go ahead.
I was just going to say, don't think of SBIR for startups. It's for small businesses and under, and some of the definitions. In a lot of ways, it's very much like MTI, where we may be investing in a going concern, but they've got a risky R&D project, like Suzanne said, something that's, down low and on the drawing board still. So just don't always think of it as startups.
Right.
And then the last part was, Suzanne, one of the things that sometimes we do, and Joe Powers and MVF and Nina organize it, we do a companies of interest call every now and then. And maybe Joe having them bring forward a couple of the most promising winners that might be coming out of that would be helpful. So, just trying to figure out how to get some visibility to these early stage companies. That's
good thought. Thanks, Joe. Yes, so it definitely is for startups, but think of it also for startup projects. So a great example is a company called Montalvo. They're out in Gorham, I think. They make tension control equipment for newspapers, for the paper industry. And they wanted to get into the composites world, and they thought this tension control would be really helpful for composites manufacturing. They were having trouble sort of getting in the doors of some of these composite manufacturing companies because they weren't proven in that industry yet. They knew they needed to do some R&D to really make their expertise applicable for this different industry. They went to NSF. They said, here's a project we have. They undersold how risky it was. They made it sound like an engineering project. They did not get funded for the first time around. They came back to the drawing board. They worked with one of our tech board members to help really sort of articulate why it was in fact risky. They went back to the drawing board. They got funded for a phase one. They got at $275,000. They got funded for a phase two at $1 million. They brought in, I think, $1 million of customer money because they were able to start selling some of their product and services related to this product. And because they brought in that money, NSF also has a matching program. They got another 500,000 from NSF. So they had 1.75 million of equity investment, or not equity investment, non-dilutive investment, to get this new product off the ground. And this is a company that's been around for 50 years, very successful company, small business, but very successful. And it's just a great success story.
And one other thing, and you might have already touched on this and I missed it, but there's no matching funds requirement. But you can, from an MTI side of things, it's great. It can be used as match for an MTI award. So we often work with applicants who received SBIR funding and then use that SBIR funding to leverage MTI funding, which allows them to even go beyond what they received from the federal government.
Yes, and then MTI money can be used, at least the grant money, can be used as a match to the NSF Phase 2B program, so that then NSF will match that money even more. And there are a couple other of those matching programs. So it really is a very complementary kind of program. So thanks for mentioning that as well, Tom.
Absolutely.
And,
Great.
and Maine Venture Fund equity and Maine Angels equity, or MTI equity, can all be used as match for the Phase 2B program. So it just, is a nice win-win-win all the way around.
We only have a minute or two left before the next presentation, but do you mind just giving a very brief overview of kind of what the process looks like to apply?
Yep. So we'd love for companies that aren't sure about the program to look a little bit on the website. There's some good materials there to give you a sense of it. If you're an entrepreneurial support person or organization, familiarize yourself with it just a little bit, and then use this assessment tool, either the takeaway 2-page PDF or the interactive assessment tool, just to get a sense of some of the kinds of things we're going to ask in a discovery process. Then you make if you think you might be a good fit, conceptually, you do an intake, you do a request through the MTI website for support for the federal programs. We will do a discovery call with the company and sort of understand the company, understand the project that they're interested in undertaking, the technology or innovation they want to develop, and ask a bunch of questions. We'll try to figure out if there's a fit with one of the agencies and one of the topics. And almost always we can find something. If there's truly something innovative, there's going to be an agency that it's likely a fit for. And then if they sort of pass that hurdle of figuring out that there's a fit, then we move them into active management, which means we can surround them with all the resources they need, the accounting, the market research, the commercialization expertise. And we coach all the way from how do you register for the site so that you can get the submission sites so that you can get ready to do this. How do you put a proposal together? We help them edit the proposal, and all the way through submission. And then even follow-up questions, pre-award kind of support that you might need. Like, it's the whole shebang.
Awesome, thanks. Suzanne, do you mind just putting your contact or the best contact for the SBIR team in case folks had more questions in the chat?
Sure.
Awesome, and thank you so much for the presentation.
Yeah, thank you. And here, I'll also put the part on the site.
Great, thanks. All right, well, I think we're going to go on to the next presentation. So I'll turn it over to Rebecca, Jenny, and Caroline.
And think it's good morning still, everyone. Thank you so much, Tom. If I can, I'm going to share my screen. And actually, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. Sorry. Try that again. Everybody see that okay? Should say Trailblazer.
Yep, looks good.
Great. All right. Thank you so much. So I'm Caroline Willett. I'm the director of the Maine Office of Outdoor Recreation, and I'm joined with Jenny Kordick, who's executive director of Maine Outdoor Brands, and Rebecca Gilbert, who was with the University of Maine system and our third original partner on this project, although that has expanded, thankfully, and includes Tom and others on the core team. But yeah, just to get us started, and thank you, Tom, for this opportunity. It's great to be able to present to the Maine Accelerates Growth group. So just a little bit of background we'll give on sort of context of the outdoor recreation economy in Maine and nationally, and then look at what this Trailblazer roadmap process and project entails and ways to get involved. So as we look to the outdoor recreation economy, one thing I think that's really important is to think about all the ways that outdoor recreation actually contributes to our communities and local and state regional economic development efforts. So everything from, attracting visitors to the state to actually encouraging entrepreneurship and talent attraction. We've got a lot that has to do with public health and wellness. It's a way to attract new residents. It's a way to grow Main Street businesses. So there's a number of different ways it touches our communities in our state. And as we look to it nationally, it's actually just now over a $1 trillion industry in 2022. You can see here the states in dark blue are the ones where outdoor recreation contributes the most significant amount to those states' GDPs. Maine is in the top 10, so almost 4% of Maine's GDP is from outdoor recreation. The 3.3 billion is direct spending, so that's actually consumer spending on goods and services, as well as manufacturers spend on the materials to produce the goods that are produced in the state of Maine. Manufacturing is definitely a bright spot. We continue to see growth in that particular industry as part of the outdoor recreation economy overall. This just gives a really quick visual representation of the growth of the outdoor recreation economy in Maine since 2017. We've seen 5.5% growth since 2021. You can see how quickly we were able to recover from the pandemic, and actually in many ways that was because outdoor recreation was one of the few things you could do early on in the pandemic. So it got a lot of new people into the outdoors, buying a lot of products they'd never purchased before. Again, that's certainly a contributor to the exponential growth. And this also just gives a really kind of visual representation of who's engaged in growing the outdoor recreation economy. So it really is a true blending of private sector, for-profit, private sector, nonprofit, public sector organizations at the local level, all the way up through to the federal level. You can see some of the types of groups and industries and businesses that are inside each of these sectors, and we work really across all of them. And I'm going to turn it over to Jenny.
Thanks. Thanks, Caroline. And hello, everyone. My name is Jenny Kordick. I'm Executive Director of Maine Outdoor Brands. We're an alliance of the outdoor product, service, and retail companies in the state of Maine. We have about 180 members, and we are working closely with the Office of Outdoor Recreation with the University of Maine now to strengthen and grow the outdoor recreation economy. So that's kind of one of our high level goals as an organization. We really focus on the business support, in particular, supporting collaborative marketing, knowledge sharing, access to resources. for outdoor companies. I wanted to just share a little bit of some of the innovation and some of that's happening in the outdoor industry in the state of Maine, and some of the companies that exist here that I'm super proud of. I think we should be really proud of as a state. We are a leading state in the country, even in the entire world. We have some amazing outdoor products, outdoor experiences that exist here. Old Town Canoe is headquartered in Maine. They're manufacturing canoes and kayaks up in Old Town still. They were just named, their electric pedal assist kayak was one of the top gear innovations named by Outside Magazine last year. You've heard of e-bikes. They're like really driving the e-kayak revolution. So that's been incredible. They actually just moved, JetBoil just moved their business to Maine to co-locate with Old Town. So they're also really driving R&D there. If you go on to the next slide, we have some of the best climbing rope in the entire world that exists in Maine, and Sterling Rope. They were just one of the first companies on the market with a climate neutral climbing rope. They're manufacturing down in Biddeford. We have some, if you go to the next slide, we have some startups as well that are just doing incredible work in the sustainability space. Opolis, sustainable eyewear. They have a ski goggle and sunglasses company. They were just named one of the top innovations of the year at Outdoor Retailer last year as well. And then the next one, another startup, Blueprint Surf, is actually 3D printing surfboards in collaboration with the Rue Institute. And they've been out testing different prototypes this summer. If anybody has been down at the beaches, probably have seen them. And another startup, amazing company that is working on growing here in Maine. And in addition to the companies, I think there's some incredible work that is happening on the service side of the industry too. So Skowhegan is doing incredible work. They're actually working on putting in the first whitewater park in Maine, even in New England, where you'll be able to go. They'll have an adjustable wave in Skowhegan. You'll be able to go surfing in Skowhegan. I think they're going to break ground this summer. So incredible innovation happening on the service side as well. And then we've just continued to see investment, and we want to see more of it. These are some of the companies that MTI has supported that are in the outdoor space, from Shred Electric, Good to Go, Seabags. We mentioned Opolis, Hyperlight, Flowfold. Some incredible companies again, and I think a lot of opportunities for investment. If you go to the next slide, we also have the companies themselves are investing in themselves, investing in Maine. Garmin has a huge presence here in Maine. They have been continuing to build out their workforce here. At Saddleback, there's been tremendous investment. I think it's upwards of $30 million now into the mountain, into workforce housing, and thinking about how do we really kind of drive rural economic development through skiing in that region. And then LB, and having one of the top outdoor companies in the world here is just an incredible asset for us. They just put $110 million into their new corporate headquarters. Now they're putting $50 million into the new to revamp the Freeport store up there. So we just wanted to highlight some of the investment that's happening in the space, and for this group, I think in particular to recognize how much of a gem the outdoor industry is here in Maine, and that we are a leading industry nationally and globally. And again, we want to see that continue to grow and strengthen, which is why we're partnering on this roadmap project with the state of Maine. And I think that's my transition back to Carol Ann.
Thank you, Jenny. So Jenny's alluded to a lot of this, but really why the timing is so critical on the roadmap. So we showed the trajectory of growth of the industry in Maine's outdoor recreation economy, and we want to continue on that pathway because it is really a great opportunity for creating new jobs, for growing businesses, for attracting new businesses, for encouraging entrepreneurship. And also it's becoming increasingly competitive. So Maine was the 10th state to create an Office of Outdoor Recreation in 2018. There are now 21 states with offices of outdoor recreation. So more and more states are putting a pretty strong emphasis and focus on outdoor recreation as a driver of their state's economy. So I think we're well positioned, as Jenny has identified, to really propel this industry forward. And you'll see here the logos of the core team that have come together to kind of shepherd this process along in conjunction with a 24-person steering committee. But we're really excited to have MTI with us at the table. It's going to be really important thinking about these innovations and where technology moves both in the product and the service sector as we look forward. This just gives a quick outline of the goals of the roadmap. So right now we're looking at providing a baseline kind of economic value beyond just the direct spend that Bureau of Economic Analysis provides, looking at really understanding the different sectors, defining those, increasing awareness of the depth and breadth, and really also prioritizing. Looking at those key strategies. I mean, this is the big piece, number 3. How do we what are the investments needed? Where's the prioritization? What differentiates Maine? Where do we need to go to really reach the next level in the next 10 years? And then critical to this all is forming those partnerships and collaborations, because this certainly isn't something anyone can do in a vacuum or on their own. Steering committee, as I mentioned, this just gives a list of the organizations that are represented on the steering committee. Lots of great minds. Again, depth and breadth is very evident here. So really important to have these folks with us guiding the process. And then I think I'm turning this back over to Jenny.
Thanks, Carolyn. I think just, a note on where we're at in the process. I think we're in this kind of data gathering phase right now, and the recognizing that there's been a lot of sort of work happening across the state on a number of different economic development plans, different strategies and visions. We were just actually talking with the Maine Office of Tourism about their destination management plan. So collecting kind of what's been done, thinking about what are some of the specific strategies to fuel the growth and diversification of the outdoor industry in particular, and getting a lot of just stakeholder engagement. I think this, as Caroline mentioned, like outdoor recreation touches on the state in so many ways. And so there is just an incredible kind of stakeholder group, from the business community to the education community to landowners even. And connecting people, getting information, getting ideas is the phase we're at right now. Over the summer, we're going to kind of continue to hone in on some goals and strategies. And then ultimately, we want to see action. We want to see more investment here. And so I think as we get a plan together this fall, we'll hope to quickly turn to implementation. And then I think from there, there's a number of ways to get involved. And I kick it over to Rebecca.
Thanks to you both. So I wanted to highlight a few ways you can get involved or how you can help us, whether it's related to the roadmap directly or just this sector in general. So our website's up here, and we'll ask Tom maybe to share it in a follow-up as well in the slide deck. On that website, you can sign up for a newsletter that we're putting up periodically, as well as take a survey with some questions that we're looking for just many people involved in this to weigh in on. The week of April 22nd, we're going to be holding some in-person roadshow stops across the state, and we're just dialing those in now. But we would love to have you join us for one of those meetings. Maine Outdoor Brands is also going to be at the Startup Showcase on May 16th during Startup Maine Week, so you can find them there. We also would welcome folks suggesting people to meet or events we should be attending as we talk about the roadmap project. And then, as I said, like a bigger picture, if you're really excited about what we've been talking about today, want to learn more about it, please reach out to one of us, and we would love to talk about all the different businesses and entrepreneurs that are involved in this. And then the last one, Caroline, if you'll switch, the slide. Almost there. I made your job hard.
Stuck.
It's stuck.
Sorry.
Oh no.
We'll have to talk about the summit.
I'll talk about it. So this coming, I'll just pull it up on my screen. If you save the date for November 13th through 15th, the third Maine Outdoor Economy Summit will be held at Sunday River. We're up in Rockport, up at the Samoset there we go. We were at the Samoset this last November, and so we're really looking forward to hosting another great event that Moore and Maine Outdoor Brands are hosting. So we would love to have you put that on your calendar and join us there. So I think that is everything we wanted to cover today, and we would welcome questions or discussion from here.
And I'll stop sharing, although I think our contact information, yeah, I'll leave it there, I guess, if folks need to reach out to us. Would it be easier for us to stop sharing and just pass that contact information along later?
Sure, yeah, it makes it a little easier for me to see if folks have hands raised. I can see that Bobby raised her hand. So Bobby, why don't you go ahead?
Thanks, Tom. Thank you for the presentation. You did a great job of showing that tourism can be innovative. So to two-pronged question. One piles on to Tove's comment. I hope this means that MTI is going to be looking at tourism as part of, as a sector to be considered. And the second part of the question is, in that regard, the other part of tourism that has been left off of MTI roadmap has been culture, the Maine arts. And so my question is, I appreciate your focus on the outdoor area, but do you have any data around the economic synergy of people who come to Maine for outdoor activities and then looking for the cultural event in the evening, and how those industries work together for an innovative first economy? Thanks.
So I can respond to that. I'm sure the Office of Tourism does. So there's a little crossover into tourism in the broader outdoor recreation economy roadmap. A lot of the innovation and where we're seeing the most growth is in the product manufacturing piece of the outdoor industry. But as we talk about sort of broader community development work and the intersection, that did come up, Bobby. It's in our build sessions around how to integrate sort of the creative economy with the outdoor rec piece, and how does that help drive tourism. So that certainly was something that was noted more than once in the build sessions. So really good point. Thank you. But I believe the Office of Tourism does have numbers that sort of help define those areas more specifically.
Great. Other questions? Just checking. It looks like we have 2 screens worth of folks, so I don't see any hands raised. Well, thank you so much for that presentation. And, I think so many exciting things are going to come out of this roadmap process. And I having been part of the core team, just to witness kind of all the initial conversations that have taken place. And I know the team is being really intentional about trying to reach out to as wide an array of stakeholders as possible. And, on that note, I think if anybody in this group either is interested in talking to the roadmap team or has people they think is really vital that the roadmap team interact with, definitely reach out, because again, I think we want to make sure that we're getting as many perspectives as possible. And thank you, Jenny and Rebecca and Karen. So we've got about 6 minutes left, and I know a couple folks here had some announcements they wanted to share. So I'm going to turn it over to Santi to start.
Hey all. Yes, thank you, Tom. I just wanted to share that the Root Institute Founder Residency is, the applications for the 2024 cohort are open currently. So we are looking for startups that could potentially be good fits for the program. If you are not familiar, the program is a year-long residency based out of the Root Institute. We are looking specifically for 10 high growth, early stage tech startups founded by women, people of color, LGBTQ+, or other historically marginalized people. So the applications are open through April, and you can find everything that you need to apply on our website. I'll post a link on the chat. We will also be hosting 2 informational sessions to learn a little bit more about the program, as well as to for interested participants to hear from current founders going through the program. Yeah, I'll post some links and would love to get any referrals of any startups. Definitely trying to get Maine startups that are growing here, but also open to any startups from outside of the state that might be interested in coming here. So appreciate the help spreading the word.
Great, awesome. Thanks, Santi. And then I believe, Joan, did you have an announcement you wanted to share about SlickPix?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Joan Drapoet. For those of you who don't know, SlickPix uses patented technology and makes images and videos interactive with multimedia stories, social sharing, and calls to action linked to each of the interactive segments. Right now, we are working on creating interactive maps. So the maps can be interactive on top of each other. So you can start at a state level, go to a region level, and then go to a town level. So we've been demonstrating to chambers of commerce for the last couple months, getting a lot of great traction. We're going to be working with the Heart of Ellsworth to get their map up and running for the season. So I just wanted to let you guys know, if you know anybody in the chamber area, interactive trail maps, museums, college campuses, botanical gardens, anything that you can make an interactive map of. If you can make any introductions, that would be great. I did put some information at the bottom of the document. So thanks for any assistance. Thanks.
Great, thanks. And do you want to put your, and this applies to Santi as well, if you guys want to put your contact info in the chat, as well as note documents, just so folks can follow up if they have questions.
Sure. Thanks.
Awesome, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Lisa, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Lisa Liberatore. I'm the program manager for Scratchpad Accelerator, and I wanted to let everyone know that we are working on hosting an event in Portland on May 15th as part of a Startup and Create Week. So we're super excited to be at 300 4th Street from 5 to 7. So it'll be an opportunity to come network and meet our companies and just be around really cool, exciting things that are happening in Maine. Our companies are from all over. So I put a link for the Eventbrite in there and just wanted to get on everyone's radars now. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Lisa. Any other announcements? Oh, Katie, I see your hand up, and then Chris. Katie, go ahead.
One more plug for the Startup Maine Week. I know it's been mentioned a few times, but the agenda is really coming together. We're going to have over 20 unique events and panels during those 4 days, with Maine Center for Entrepreneurs, their summit being one of the anchor events that week. So if you're not on the newsletter, that's how we're going to be spreading the word about the conference. And last plug would be, if anyone has a sponsor idea or would like to sponsor, I'm taking some inquiries on that. So just wanted to do that shameless plug. Thank you.
Katie, can you remind us what dates the conference is again?
May 14th through 17th in Portland. We're taking over UMaine and Rue and Cloudport and Custom House. So I'll drop a link in the chat.
Awesome, thanks. Chris and then Kate.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I added it to the notes document too, and I'll put in a chat about the link, but I'm with the Cooperative Fund of the Northeast, and we often partner with the Cooperative Development Institute, and we help put together the annual conference for cooperative businesses, and it's coming up April 6th in August in Augusta. And the SBDC folks and SCORE folks and CEI have been really supportive in learning and helping businesses who want to form cooperatives. You can be a startup cooperative. We're also seeing a lot of retiring business owners selling their businesses to employees. So I'll put it in the chat, and please come and share out. Thanks.
Awesome, thanks, Chris. And again, yeah, if I put it in the chat is great. And then Kate, go ahead.
I will just emphasize what I've already put in the chat. Maine Science Festival kicked off last night. We've got events tonight, and tomorrow's all about the students, but Saturday is all about grown-ups and others. MTI has been a long time sponsor and partner. In particular this year, and as in past years, they're sponsoring 5-Minute Genius, where we make really amazing scientists talk about their work in 5 minutes or less using normal human language. If they go over 5 minutes, we ring them off with a cowbell. We have some startup folks who are presenting there. Kendra Bacheladier from Wade Medical is one of them. So if you want to see about her work, learn about it in 5 minutes where you will feel like a genius afterwards, please come join us. Festival's going to go on no matter what the weather is. We will be there. So this whole thing we provide available at no charge because we're trying to make sure that science is accessible to all. So check out the websites, and a big shout out to Bobby, who is going to be one of our judges for Maine Invention Convention. I guarantee you will walk away inspired.
Amazing. Thanks, Kate. And Marty, go ahead.
Yeah, I already put it in the chat, but I realized I have a typo in there. So Maine International Trade Center is hosting our annual Trade Day conference on May 16th and 17th in Bangor. And we have Luke from Luke's Lobster as our keynote speaker and focusing on Maine's heritage industries. So just want to make sure that you all have that on your calendar as well, and hope to see you there.
Great. Thanks, Marty. Seems like it's going to be a pretty busy spring, but it's great to see all these amazing events taking place. And I don't see any other hands up, so I think we'll end it there. But thank you all for attending. Thanks to our presenters. They were 2 great presentations, and just really exciting to see everything taking place in the ecosystem. And I will see you all in April.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.